And refusing to tip says servers shouldn't get 25% for doing their job. Is there a video for this? Let me see if I can find it. There it is. Let's go ahead and look at this.
So I'm not tipping anymore. I'm done. I'm out. Used to be you would give a tip if somebody gave exceptional service. When was the last time you got exceptional service anywhere? And it's just expected. They bring you the bill at the end and they're like, here, just fill this out. 20%, 25%. No, you did your job. They made food. You carried it to my table. You got me a Diet Coke. Thank you. That was your job. You don't get 25% because you did your job. And I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not. If you own a restaurant, just tell me what it costs. What does it cost for me to get my food? And I want people to be taken care of. Just tell me what it costs.
Just go ask Europe. They figured it out a long time ago. We'll look and see what the comments are on this topic, right? Yes, tipping's out of control. iPads at pickup counters have got to go. Tipping whenever you get a coffee. Oh my God. Tipping DoorDashers before I've even received my food. Oh yeah, so it looks like a lot of people are really fed up with this kind of stuff, man. And I'm not surprised. I feel like nobody really likes having to tip, especially whenever, I mean, let's be real, guys. Everything has doubled in price in the last 5 years. Maybe not everything, but a lot of things have. A lot of things have gone up in price ridiculously. This is awful. Like, this is crazy. So people are getting pinched like crazy. They can't afford to do anything. They want to go and eat out to at least have something nice. And then they've got to spend 20% on top of that because the owner of the restaurant doesn't want to pay the worker. Get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not. And for me, like, whenever I go out, I always tip. And I always tip a lot of money. Even if I get, you know, like, takeout, I will tip them money usually. Because it's like, I have a lot of money and I don't really care. It's like, I can help them. It's because I can, right? It's not a big deal. And so, but before, whenever I didn't have any money, I never tipped. I never tipped. And if I ever had to tip, I stole silverware to make up for the money that I got tipped for, or that I had to tip for. And so I never did this. So, of course, this was not my thing. But now that I have the money, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't really give a fuck, right? We're already close to 25% inflation, but people can't afford 25% tip on top of 25% inflation. Yes, in England, nobody expects you to tip. It's odd how the USA, it's like an additional fee. People are becoming ungrateful and acting as though a tip is their right. There are a lot of waiters and people that work in the service industry that do feel that way. I see it all the time. And it's a big problem. I think so. I'm 100% in support of the tip, but should be optional and voluntary. American tipping culture is so stupid. The wage service industry tip for $2.15. That's why there is a tip. That's why. Well, then maybe fix that. I agree tipping needs to end, and companies must pay their people. If you don't want a tip, then don't use the service that typically expects you to use a tip. Well, I don't really think that's the case. I disagree with this, because if you don't want to not get tips, don't get a job that you have to rely on them, and they might not happen. I feel like you can turn this around on the person who is doing the work very quickly, because it's like, okay, so you're working at this job where you can, you know, people can give you money or not, but you're choosing to work there. No. If you buy something on a menu, it should be that price. In Europe, my understanding is it is literally illegal to have a price for something on that's stated, and then you go to the counter and it's a different price instead. And that's including sales tax. They have all of that in there. So, like, it's crazy how, like, not only do we have to pay sales tax that's not included in the original price, but on top of that, you also have a tip that's also included that is not on the original price as well. So it's like, it's not even deceptive in one way, it's deceptive in two ways. So, yeah, I completely agree. I think Europe has it right, personally. I think that's a better solution. The sales tax thing is, like, it's not really a big deal, but it is, I mean, 8% is a lot, right? Like, you spend $1,000, that's $80. That's a lot of money. $80 is a lot of money. So, yeah, it should be more like Japan, where it's offensive to tip. Tipping is a psyop that pits customer against wage worker to the benefit of the business owner. Holy f***, that is true. Jesus Christ, that is true. Just walk into the kitchen, grab your own food. I don't think tipping is like, I don't think tipping should be made like illegal or something like that. I don't think so at all. Like, it's just that if you have it and people feel like they have to do it, I do think that sucks. And it doesn't help anybody. I don't think it helps the workers either. It's the same in Australia. Restaurants have the lowest profit margin. If restaurants had to pay $15 an hour, there's no way any of them could survive. Well, like, how is it that other countries that don't have tipping have restaurants? Because, like, that's what's so crazy to me. Because there's a lot of other places that have restaurants, and they don't have tips. So how is it that the US needs to have tips and there's no other way to do it? I don't know what to say. And also, here's another big point. If you can't afford to pay your workers minimum wage, you can't afford to exist. Where you're saying like, well, you know, they couldn't make any money if they paid the minimum wage, so they have to pay them less than that and it's okay? What the f*** do you mean? Like, if your business isn't viable whenever you have to factor in payroll, then your business isn't viable. How is it so complicated for people? Waiters and waitresses don't want to get rid of the tipping system because they make more than hourly wage. It's not just the business's fault. Sure, but like, again, I think that tipping will stop whenever people stop tipping. This is, in my opinion, a completely self-inflicted problem by the American population. And I think that the American population is so narcissistic and self-absorbed that they're constantly fixated on the way that other people perceive them, and them being disapproved of for not tipping is seen to them as more problematic than literally giving their own hard-earned money away. And so the psychological problem where a person feels like they have to put on an act for people that they'll never see again, this idea is, I think, much worse than tipping ever could be. And I think that's really what the problem is. It's because you have people here in the US that value other people's perception of them more than their own money. I think it's pathetic. And so whenever I see these people feeling like, oh, I have to tip, I think that if you say you have to tip, you're a loser. That's what I think. I think it's pathetic. People tip because employees get bad salary. I think a lot of people tip because they're afraid of being looked down on for not tipping. Now, I think that you're right, too. I think that there's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is because they don't want to be seen as a bad person. And also, think about how like, what you're saying feeds into what I'm saying. Like, they're getting a bad salary, so then you're being a good person by helping them, right? So, like, you're kind of making my point, but not with like the I'm using like more of like an emotional like argument, and like you're saying it like more directly. There's the social pressure. I think that people that are weak to social pressure, I don't have any sympathy for them. Don't want to tip, don't tip. It just needs to be banned. It's insane to ban tipping. This is a solution. If you want tipping to go away, stop tipping. Stop doing it. Completely stop doing it. Like, if you're not happy with it and you think it's a bad practice, stop doing it. Don't ever tip. And if enough people stop tipping, they'll have to change the model. They would have to, right? And that's the only solution. If you don't like tipping, don't tip. And if people get mad at you, just remember that they don't matter. So, problem solved.